Okay, so today I am with the Dark Conservatarian for a discussion um, on just some of the things that we've sort of, I mean, you could say disagreed over, but just some of the things that have come up between us. If you remember, if you watched the stream I did with S-Man not long ago, we had a segment of the stream where we spoke about Dark Conservatarian. I wasn't too fond of the things Darkon has said over the past. And in the subsequent follow-up to that, Darkon and I have decided to speak directly because, you know, it's best to speak face-to-face or as close to face-to-face as you can, than perhaps over different parties and stuff. Anyway, Darkon, if you want to give a little introduction to yourself.
I am calling out Owen Cunt Donald for daring to platform the insidious Dark Conservatarian. He is a racist, sexist, bigoted, homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, Nazi-inspired, fascist, enabling piece of shit. And he shall change his mind by people going on smear campaigns and call-out campaigns against him. And if that doesn't change his mind for daring to do such an action like that, and to apologize for such a thing, Antifa shall march up to his door, break into his house, shall take him, spread his legs out, and assuming there is a set of dick and balls right there, he shall be castrated with a pair of fucking scissors.
Okay, so I'm glad you got that off your chest. That was an interesting way to start. Anyway,
I look to put on an entertaining show to make this worth my time.
Entertaining, eh? Okay, so where shall we start? Where do you want to start, Darkon?
Well, reiterate in the past of what it is about me and why it is about me in general that you dislike about me.
Well, I don't really see it as a personal dislike, really. I find myself above.
You throw accusations of bigotry at me, and it's not personal. Got it.
Why are you speaking like that? Like, it's not, you can have a normal conversation. I mean,
can people really have normal conversations when you flagrantly call them scumbags and all the other bull crap?
Well, I mean, if you acted nicely and weren't bigoted, then you wouldn't be, you know, called a bigot. I mean,
the only people that I'm not nice to are my enemies, which you apparently are one of them.
Things like that, like enemy, like, and there's no reason for you to see me as an enemy, but for the actions which you have been, you know, called bigoted for, which are clearly, you know, bigoted things.
Because a lot of the things that you say are false as to why that we are enemies. Like you want to drag my name through the mud and just completely misrepresent my beliefs.
I mean, anything I've said has only been exemplified through the actions and words you yourself have said. Like, I wouldn't just make something up.
Saying that I'm anti-bodily autonomy, that's not something made up.
Well, you are. You are. Of course you are.
I mean, that's not taking into account all the other issues regarding bodily autonomy. Why do you say that okay, sum up why you say, I guess that's what we'll start off. Sum up why it is exactly that you say that I'm anti-bodily autonomy.
Well, what do you oppose abortion? Therefore, you oppose the bodily autonomy of the person that can get pregnant. You know, it's a pretty obvious start, really, isn't it?
That's okay. And what else?
Well, I mean, that's the whole point. You know, if you oppose
is that
abortion,
the only thing?
You oppose.
Is that the only thing?
In regards to bodily autonomy?
Yes.
I mean, there's also if we're just talking about abortion, then yeah, but if there's other things like the, you know, your anti LGBTQ stuff, you know, the opposition to freedoms that individual people have, you know, there's more axes to view and stuff. And from memory, you're a Christian, right? You're a Christian.
Oppositions to individual freedom other than what?
I hadn't finished what I was saying. I asked you if you were a Christian. Are you a Christian?
I mean, yeah, non-denominational, and just to let you know, I mean, that's not one of the issues that you brought up plenty of times.
Oh, I was just
That's
asking
not one of the beefs that you have brought up, honestly.
beefs.
I mean, you seem to have some kind of beef with the fact that I just proclaimed myself to disagree with you on the issue of abortion.
I mean, like when, well, it's not so much a personal beef. It's just I think anyone who opposes abortion.
Well, then I do not get as to why you have to like call names and strawman my positions over it.
What do you mean? Sorry, straw man.
Yeah, strawman, because you go talking about bodily autonomy. For one thing, there's also consideration of the unborn person, particularly
There's no
late
consideration
term.
there.
What?
There's no consideration there. There's no argument there.
Oh, yeah.
The
Sure.
only
Just
person...
because you say it means that I'm going to completely shut up on the issue of abortion. Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No.
So the person that matters is the actual person, aka the person who has the womb, the person who is carrying.
Well, rewinding back to bodily autonomy, though, because that wasn't the only thing. On the issue of abortion alone, there's consideration of the unborn human being inside the bodily autonomy of them as well. Like the bodily autonomy of both mother and child are in conflict in that circumstance. It's a rather morally messy issue. And plus, you seem to be forgetting about the other issues involving bodily autonomy. Like, for example, shooting drugs in people's systems, or a person shooting drugs in their own system more specifically. I mean, if somebody was to shoot drugs in someone else's systems, that's obviously a violation of bodily autonomy. And it would be assault or something like that. Yeah, one person to another, not one person on their own self. But specifically talking about one person on their own self shooting drugs in their own system, I am for allowing that. I mean, I thought that was something that we kind of, I don't know, I guess we did not fully clarify that. And also transgender procedures and a person cutting themselves with a knife like an edgy emo kid, like people like to comment that I dress up as. And also getting a boob job, butt injections, tattoos, piercings, all that other stuff. People can, like, in my worldview, can do whatever they want with their own body as long as it doesn't affect second party. I mean, are you taking those issues into consideration when you say that I'm anti-bodily autonomy? Because my position on those issues alone is pretty pro-bodily autonomy.
But the fact that you are, pro bodily autonomy in some things doesn't mean that you are holding views and having actions which oppose it in other areas. So it's all very well saying, oh, I think anyone can do what they want with drugs or bodily modification.
It's not.
But when if you're saying, oh, you don't have the right to control your own reproductive system, then
it's not even
that's
in the
not
issue.
Right. That's an example of you opposing bodily autonomy, because
it's not even
actively taking away the control of a person that is actually existing, their right over their own body.
It's not even in the issue of abortion am I against the woman's own bodily autonomy necessarily. I mean, when it comes to like the life of mother, for example, who do you think that I take precedence over? Who do you think that the pro-life community as a whole takes precedence over? I mean, they believe in the life of mother exception for one thing, and I mean, this is kind of where I disagree with a select few other pro-lifers on, is that I actually believe in allowing women to like terminate their own pregnancies before brainwaves are detected, like that being like the first 7 weeks.
Well, hold on a second. Why are you assigning life to something which is, not really a life, which is not a human? Why are you trying
what
to
species are they then?
Why
aren't human.
Why are you trying to set parameters on something where there are none to be set? Why are you trying to take agency away from the person that has autonomy to some
for one thing
barely even
humanity
qualifiable as anything worthy of a life compared to
for one thing humanity already overall, I mean, aside from a few whack jobs who go on serial killings and whatnot, overall humanity does believe in the right to life for everybody.
For actual humans, though. not for non-humans.
Unborn babies are actual humans. I mean, what
No,
species
they
are
aren't.
they, Owen?
They aren't
Yes,
actual. They
they
aren't
are.
actual humans. No, they're not. Though, because
What
they
species
aren't
are they
alive.
then?
They
Are
have
they
no
alligator?
sentience.
Are they zebra? Are they
fact
bear?
They're not alive. They're not actual humans. They're fetuses.
They're not alive. Oh yeah.
They aren't alive. I mean,
oh yeah, sure. I mean this seems to be an
life.
outright denial of biology right here.
Oh no, well, that's from your end, to be honest.
On my end,
of
in
life,
what way? I'm acknowledging that they're alive, and I'm acknowledging that they're human.
They aren't alive, and they aren't human. A human is someone who has been born. You can't say you can love what you like, but it doesn't matter what you particularly have to say about it. To be honest, because the person that is actually alive,
I could just as easily say that to you. That what you say doesn't matter either.
The person that is carrying the actual, the person that has the womb, that's the person that's alive. There's no debate there to be had.
They are alive, and what do you mean there's no debate to be had?
There
is a debate right now. Whether you like it, Owen, there is a debate on abortion being had right now. I mean, that's why we're on this live stream right now.
Well, it doesn't really matter what you have to say on it, because the person...
Well, then why the fuck did you invite me on this live stream then?
Oh, there's other stuff I had to speak to you about, but it doesn't matter what you have to say about it. There is an objective right answer, and that is the person that is, the actual human, the person who has the womb, who is carrying the fetus, they're the person that has the choice, and they can assign the life to it if they want, but ultimately,
what study or article
human.
By what study or article are they not human, or are they not alive? Because I've always heard that women, or even people in general, if you want to go with non-females, can give birth with that logic as well. Humans in general give birth, or no, not in general. Humans give birth to other humans. They do not give birth to platypi or dogs or cats or any of that other crap, or any other species.
What does that have to do with? What does that have to do with the anything else?
What do you mean? I mean, it has to do with how you're denying the biology of what species they are. I mean, you keep on. I mean, it's one thing for
they aren't. I'm not saying they're going to grow up into a different type of animal.
You're saying that they're not human.
Well, they aren't in the same way that we are. Then they'll grow into one if they're if their pregnancy is complete.
So is a fetus human?
No, not at all. It's not. It doesn't have a right to life.
Yeah, show me. No, show me the DNA. Show me the DNA study that somebody plucked like a piece of DNA from a fetus, from a human fetus, and it showed to be anything but of the species of human.
You aren't listening to what's being said here, Darkon. A piece of DNA doesn't make someone or something human in the same way that we are. They don't have life. They don't have sentience, autonomy, not in the same way that a person that actually has a womb, that actually has to be pregnant, can be. I mean, let's put it another way, Darkon. If you were to, become pregnant, let's say you could. I mean, I don't know about your biology or not.
I mean, if there was a way to biologically engineer wombs into men, I do not know if I would take it, but that's beside the point.
Men can. It's not beside the point. If you for whatever reason you were pregnant, would you give birth?
I mean, I can't right now because I'm not biologically engineered like that.
No, but if you were, it's a thought experiment. You have a baby in 9 months' time, a baby is going to be born from your body. Are you giving birth?
Yeah.
You are, even though it could have life-changing effects on your body, and you might not want children. You might not.
What kind of life-changing effects?
Well, I mean, the effect on the body when one gives birth is often quite scarring and quite damaging, and it affects the metabolism and the bodily shape sometimes. Not to mention, the 9 months of your life that you're giving over to this pregnancy. Think about the bodily cramps and the hunger pangs and all those things that people go through, the complications of medicality, and the risks of childbirth itself.
Increased metabolism is not the utmost end of the world, and as far as weight goes, gaining weight. As far as gaining weight goes, that can be like worked off. Go to the gym.
Darkon, it's all right for you to say that because you've never been through it. How do you know?
I mean, you're asking me in this thought experiment. You're asking me in this thought experiment, Owen.
Yeah, but you can't just say, "Oh, it's not a big deal." When
I mean, if I can't
trying
give
to tell
birth,
me,
if you're now suddenly going to say I can't give birth, well, okay, for one thing, that seems pretty transphobic of you. What's to say that I cannot get like some kind of biological engineering done so I can give birth?
what are you on about?
What am I on about? What
Stop
I'm
talking
on
rubbish.
about
Answer the
is
question.
that you made up this thought experiment that if I was to give birth, and now you're all like, you can't give birth. Like,
Look,
are we
you
going to
just
run with this
say,
experiment, or are we going to stick with reality that I can't give birth?
Darkon, you're not making any sense. I've given you a thought experiment, and I've asked you a very
Okay, well then let's stick with it.
yes, which is what we were doing. Why are you trying to add in bits? Anyway,
Well, you were the one that like went off the tangent that
Darkon.
saying that I cannot give birth. You suddenly turned
What you,
off the thought experiment like a light switch.
I said you've never like all I said was that you've never experienced your metabolism changing in the same way a pregnant person has. So how are you to say, oh, it's not a big deal, as though you just know how it is? Anyway, my point was that let's say during this pregnancy there are lots of things that could happen to your body, and things that do happen to a person that is pregnant's body. Um, so why are you dismissing all these things as though they're just not going to apply to this hypothetical pregnancy when in reality a pregnancy does have lots of those things?
I mean, I don't
Why?
think that is like you know what? We're kind of getting off of the
No, we're not,
subject that
because
we
I'm asking.
originally mentioned,
It's
which
part
was
of.
of how I'm anti or pro bodily autonomy. In what
Well,
way I am.
this thought experiment is part of that. I'm asking you why you could say all these hateful, harmful things when you
Hateful,
quite
yeah.
clearly. Well, they are hateful. Why would you want to control someone else's
Oh,
body?
yeah, I hate the mother. It cannot possibly be because I love. Well, love might be a little bit of a strong word, but because I care for people's right to life, including the unborn baby.
But the fact they're
It cannot
unborn
possibly be because of
signifies
that.
that you
It's
have
because
a
I
life.
hate the woman. Got it.
The unborn part signifies the lack of a right to life. But to be honest, Darkon, you haven't
Well,
answered the
in
point.
all honesty,
If you were pregnant, like in this thought experiment, you're telling me you would go through with this birth,
yes.
even though your body you might not get your body back to how it once was. You might have to go through these 9 months of often really painful and harmful ordeals. And
I mean,
just
honestly,
honestly,
it would
what?
not be the fault of the baby that the person carrying the baby ended up in that situation
What?
of having to carry a baby. It's
No,
not
but
the
I'm
fault.
asking
It's
you.
not. It's not the fault of the unborn baby of why the person carrying that baby is carrying that baby.
Well, I never said it was, but you've got
Okay, well,
the
that's why
option.
that I say that they have a right to life is because they did not do any harm, or at least
They
they did not do any. They are not at fault for the woman's bodily autonomy getting violated.
Well, who said it was getting violated? It could just
Wait,
be a case of.
whoa! Who said that it was getting violated? I thought this whole thing was about violation of bodily autonomy.
Well, let's just say a woman, or a person by chance gets pregnant. Maybe their what's it called, contraception didn't work properly, and they say, oh, okay, I'm pregnant. I don't want to be pregnant, and they get an abortion, and it's all sorted. No harm done, no life disrupted, no autonomy
Yeah,
vanquished, and
actually,
everything's
there
fine.
was harm done.
But there wasn't harm done though, because everyone's fine.
There was the loss of a human life.
No, there wasn't. There was a
I
fetus.
mean, I think we're getting hung up on the differences between human and individuality. I mean, when you are saying that supposedly they are not human, which is again, I'll say a denial of biology for you to say that they're not human. I think
No.
what you're meaning by that is when do they get their individuality? And when does the right to life or bodily autonomy apply for the unborn baby? That's what where the debate primarily lies at. Is
Well,
when
maybe in
do we
your eyes,
find
but
personhood?
maybe in your eyes, but the only person present in the situation is the actual person that has the womb and is carrying the fetus.
Okay, so
So there's
the
no
issue
real debate to be had over whether, you know, there's no you for all. Even
I don't care for how much you want to say there's no debate going on.
Even if we accept your nonsense about the, you know, even if we accept this whole, oh, there's a big debate about whether fetuses are humans or whatever, the actual human, the one that no one debates the existence of, is the actual person in a physical, touchable world, like, you know, myself.
I mean, yeah, I'm not
Therefore,
debating.
They get the priority. They get the, you know, they get the whole. Like,
I mean, I'm not saying that women do not take slight higher priority.
You're quibbling over the, you know, the, oh, unborn lives. It doesn't matter, because that person that is pregnant is the one that gets to make.
I don't care if you think it doesn't matter.
Well,
I mean, I don't. You got to break down as to why it doesn't matter. The simple statement from particularly your orifice that it doesn't matter does not convince me. And so okay. So you go talking. Okay. So you say that the
people you can.
Let me ask you.
Keep your horrible worldview away from people that, you know, want to have control over their own bodies. Keep your, like,
yeah, I would say you keep your own horrible worldview away from other people as well.
Well, the thing is, I am not affecting anyone else by saying, you know, oh, people should be able to control their own reproductive systems. Your worldview actively could.
Well, you kind of are affecting other people when you say, let's systematically allow the unborn to die.
No one's allowing the unborn to die. You're assigning life to bits of cells.
Well, okay, not allow them. I want to reword that. Not to allow them to die, but allow them to be killed.
They're not being killed. They didn't have a life to begin with. They're bits of, you know, flesh. They're like, you know.
What do you mean by they didn't have a life?
Well, they haven't been born. They're not human. They're not an actual person like you or I.
Well,
like, it's hardly as though you've dropped a stone on a baby, is it? All you've done is, you know, terminate some cells.
I mean,
stop the pregnancy. That's it. There's no debate to be had there. You know.
I mean, the life. It doesn't matter if I did not. It doesn't matter if I like dropped a stone on them or not. I mean, it's still ending the life when you take a scalpel to it and whatnot. I mean, okay. So you are defining. I'm not saying that they have a life. What?
Darkon, have you been vaccinated, Darkon?
You know, I don't think I have. But why is it? This is a red herring right here.
Have you ever taken medicine, Darkon? Have you ever taken medicine, Darkon?
What does this have to do with anything?
Could you answer the question, please? Have you ever taken medicine or?
Duh.
Okay. Yeah. Has your body got white blood cells?
I'm alive and I'm human, so I think the answer is yes.
Yeah. Your body has killed thousands of life forms, probably much more than that, over your entire lifetime.
Those are not human life.
Neither's the bit of cells that you've got in your.
Okay, I'm not looking. Okay. Here, let me clarify. I'm not looking to defend
yourself off into the coffin.
I want to clarify. I'm not looking to defend a few bit of cells. Like, I'm not looking to defend a 1 week conceived zygote. I'm looking to defend 7 week. Well, actually, even 7 weeks are not technically considered fetuses. I think it's technically 8-10 weeks and onward they're considered fetuses.
Why are you assigning life to, you know, fetuses? Bits of
why am I assigning life? I'm trying to get the right to life to be consistent in our society. That is what this debate is about.
As if, you should be not bothered about, you know, assigning bits of life to control the, you know, bodies of other people who are actually alive.
I'd like to rewind this a little bit.
Disgusting that you know, want you have you can't. I mean, I'm asking you, can you get pregnant? Do you have a womb? Don't sigh. It's a simple question.
Earlier?
Okay.
I mean, no. So okay, I want to rewind this. I want to take this back a little bit, though.
If you don't have a womb, you can in a second. But if you don't have a womb, what makes you able to say, "Oh, that's a life" to anyone else?
I mean, you don't have a womb. What makes you say that you can assign life?
I've not assigned life to anyone.
I mean, what says that you can have a say in abortion if you can have a womb?
Well, the difference is that I'm not saying to anyone you can or can't. You know, you must do this. I'm saying, you know, it's up to you. It's up to the person that is pregnant what they want to do with their own body. And subsequently, if that person says, no, I don't want this pregnancy, it's up to them. It's their choice entirely. You don't get to say to them, oh, well, actually, I've assigned some life to, you know, this bit of these few cells in your body, therefore it can't happen. You're murdering someone. It should be, okay, my mouth's shut, I don't get a say, it's your body, you know, and move on with your day. Darkon. Especially as you purport to be a Christian, and thus you should be doing loving things to, you know, actual people. Like, you're not exactly being a very good Christian.
I'm trying to do loving things by preserving the right
Not-
to life,
you're
but
not trying
these
to do
unborn.
loving things, eh?
I did not hear that. That was muffled, but I want to rewind this a little bit back. You say that what I have to say on abortion does not matter. What I view to be life doesn't matter. But the ultimatum as to how that you determine this issue is that women have a right to bodily autonomy, full
People,
stop.
everyone, like not just
Well,
women,
okay,
everyone.
okay. Well, women for the most part are the super majority of people who give birth. That's why I say women. But we can like stick to people as well. I don't care. But your logic is people have a right to their own bodily autonomy, so therefore they can abort, full stop, right?
Mm.
Well, my logic is the unborn baby did not violate that. They are not the party that maliciously violated that right.
The unborn, it's not as though an abortion, like someone else is like, oh right, you're going for an abortion, Amber, and some pregnant woman's like dragged off screaming to go and have an abortion. Like, that never
What?
happens.
That's not what I said.
I didn't say you said that. I said it's not like that happens. Like, abortions like aren't performed on people who don't want them had. Like, there's no like, oh, you know, you will go. Like, they're only ever performed when, you know, the person who is pregnant.
We get that. How do we
You know,
get? How do we get here? To
an
this point?
unborn baby, you know, that's a baby that is actually wanted by the person that is pregnant. You know, if an abortion's being carried out, then it's, you know, it's not anything that's going to materialize into a human. You know, it's not wanted. It's not.
I don't think whether a person
viable.
is wanted or not determines that their right to life is null and void, or it's applicable.
Actually, it's crucial to get the understanding of a person that is pregnant, because, like, say, imagine a you know, expecting parent finds out they're pregnant,
I mean,
and
I'm
like
speaking.
a few
Broadly.
weeks after, you know, they conceive the you know, the egg and the sperm and stuff and whatever. You know, if they find out like within a few weeks, you know, they've not got a life technically. You know, they've not got an actual human yet, but you know, we obviously know through the social rules in our society to make sure that pregnancy happens. Whereas, you know, a person
Wait. Make sure it happens. I thought you said women weren't being forced to have abortions.
You clearly aren't listening to what I'm said, because I didn't say forced, did I? But I said if a parent
You
wants
said
the child.
you made this
If
analogy of a woman
Darkon, if
getting
you'd
dragged
listen,
and
Darkon, if
kicking
you'd
and
listen
screaming.
for a second, maybe you wouldn't have these confusions. I said if a parent finds out they are
If you
pregnant
would
and
actually
they
ask me on my belief,
Darkon,
you would not have these confusions.
you're never gonna hear if you speak over. So if a parent wants the child, then, you know, we as a society make sure the pregnancy goes through safely and securely, and we make sure that the baby is born. If a parent doesn't want the child, then it makes sense to do what we can to, you know, make sure that the life inside them is not a human life and is not growing into the full baby ready to be, you know, given birth. Nothing's been murdered because the life hasn't started yet. It's, you know, it's a series of cells. It's no more alive than just, you know,
I mean, your
terminating.
series of cells.
Yes, but I'm also an actual human. I can think. I've got sentience. I've got bodily autonomy. A little.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, you
inside,
wanna talk about
fetus,
thinking. You want to talk
a
about
little
thinking
fetus
like a
inside
newborn
someone's
baby
body.
has barely any ability to think. So, but their
They're
right to
still,
life
still
is not
human.
unviable.
Darkon. They're still human though. Like, there's a bit.
Yeah, still as they were a few minutes ago before they were born.
Abortions aren't performed on people who are literally about to come out of the womb, are they?
Okay,
Like,
I wanna ask you for clarification, because you kind of give off the implications that I think I know what the answer is on this, but I don't want to go off on an assumption. Do you actually believe in allowing late-term abortions?
like, what do you mean by late-term abortion?
Like, say, 34 to 36 weeks?
Oh, you mean
Or
like well
a few
before
days
the?
before birth?
You mean well before abortions are, you know, usually performed, like safely performed when people have the
No, well
information.
before. No, that's like a well
Well
after.
after. That's what I meant. So I misspoke. Yeah, sorry. Well after.
But I mean,
You know, most
you can
abortions.
answer like yes or no on this, and then give like your full explanation. Yes or no? Do you believe in legally allowing late-term abortions.
You know, late-term
happen
abortion's
in
not
women
a
watching.
late-term abortion is a pretty misleading
Do
term because
you?
it makes it sound as though they're like this
Well,
commonplace thing, when in
they
reality
are late-term. I mean, it
they're
doesn't
used
matter. It
only
doesn't
when
matter as to how commonplace they are. I mean, that's not relevant to my
it is though,
question. Do
because
you believe in
the
legally
whole
allowing
reason
them to happen?
the whole reason people have this argument is because they
Do
want to
you
try and
believe
portray
in
they want
allowing them
to
to happen?
sorry.
Do you believe in legally allowing late-term abortions to happen?
Absolutely, because they're not that big a thing, and when
Okay.
given the right information,
Not,
people who are pregnant are able to access abortions much earlier than that. It's people like you who are actively trying to assign life to, you know, bits of flesh and fetuses and stuff, who actively take information away. You know, conservatives in government trying to remove the information around, you know, safe sex and sex education and reproductive rights and stuff that make such abortions necessary, because, you know, a person doesn't have access until far into the pregnancy, when the, you know, the bit of flesh starts to actually resemble and become close to the human that it will be when it's born. You know, they're not that common, and they wouldn't be that common if there were less people like you who actively make it harmful and dangerous for people to seek abortion.
For the rare amount of abortions that do happen that late is when I definitely think that they should be not allowed, legally not allowed.
Well, even so, why does your hang-ups about it mean that the person who is pregnant should lose control of her own body? Like,
I mean,
it doesn't matter what you personally think.
why
Yeah,
should
fine.
the unborn
You
baby
find
lose
it
their right to life?
unborn. They haven't had a life yet. Therefore, they don't have the right.
They are
They're not.
alive. I mean, what do you define as a life? Are you talking about like they are playing with other children and they're interacting with other people? Is that what you mean by, is that what you're defining as life right now? When you say they haven't had a life yet?
You know, an actual like person that has been born, that has, you know, left the the womb of the parent.
I don't think you're getting,
Sorry.
I don't think you're answering my question right there.
No, like you asked me what a life was. I said, you know, something that has left the womb. Certainly for humans, anyway. Obviously, different animals have different things. Regardless,
Because they are,
you cannot try and you know, you put life onto things just so you can control the wombs of people.
I don't look to control the wombs of people, but I mean, I don't look to control anyone's body. What I'm looking is to protect life.
Then protect the actual life.
Make sure that nobody kills other people.
Protect the actual life of the person that is pregnant, not some.
Okay,
you know,
that's why we believe in right to life exception, or that's why we believe in life of mother exception. Excuse me. I mean, if you want to talk about protecting the life of the mother, that's why a supermajority of the pro-life community believes in the life of mother exception.
Ha.
I mean, did you know that? Did you ever know that when it came to the pro-life community?
I don't. Pro-life is a bit of a misnomer, isn't it? It's more like anti-freedom, isn't it? Because
oh yeah,
they don't care at all about life. You conservatives, right? You know, have no interest in
care about life. This is another smear from you.
Well, we'll get on to why that's a bit of a nonsense point from you, because let's move on to sort of some of the reasons I personally have called you.
Done with the issue of bodily autonomy.
It's linked into everything really that we're coming on to, but what more did you want to say on this point?
What I want to say is that if you say that they aren't human, provide us a study or something that says that that humans give birth to any other species. Give me a DNA testing.
That isn't what I mean by not.
Well,
that's
okay.
Not
well,
then
you
got
to clarify your language. You got to redefine your own.
No, because I've not.
Speaking. Because when you say they are not human, they are not alive. That is just utterly fallacious and utter falsehood.
Okay, so I've never said that a human's going to give birth to like a dog or something. That's not what I mean.
Well,
like,
that's kind of the implication when you say it is not human.
Like biologically and physically the same development as an actual human, a person like you or I, you know, an actual physical baby, you know, that's actually not attached and dependent on the person, the womb. That's an actual life, you know, actual human. And subsequently to assign and equate that life to some little, bit of flesh inside someone else's body, just some like clump of cells that are nothing resembling an actual human. It's just absurd. It's not good. Why on earth is S-Man posting with 2 accounts in this same chat? Sorry. Anyway, shall we move on, because there are plenty of reasons as to why I see you as anti-bodily autonomy and why you are anti-bodily autonomy.
I am just going to say that it's okay that if we disagree on the issue of abortion, but as long as you don't misrepresent my position and why I hold those
positions. Why does
your
position matter when you're actively trying to go against the rights of people who can get pregnant? As someone who can't get pregnant, your position does not matter.
Going against the rights.
Sorry, I mean, of course you are. You're trying to control the womb of someone else.
Somebody, okay, you say like actively violating people's rights. Like, say for example, somebody invades somebody else's house or whatever. I mean, does a person who actually owns the house get the full-on rights to just kill that invader?
How is this a sensible analogy?
Why is this?
The house analogy has
here's
2.
Why.
The house analogy has 2 autonomous people. The womb has 1 autonomous person, which is the person that has the womb.
The womb does have 1 autonomous person inside it.
No, the womb itself belongs to an autonomous person. There's nothing inside it which is an autonomous human being.
It belongs to an autonomous person. It also contains an autonomous person.
No, it doesn't. Unless you seriously think a little amalgamation of cells is an autonomous human being. In which case, I hope you're not taking any more medicine, and I hope you're not.
I don't believe that a 1-week conceived, zygote is an autonomous person necessarily. I believe it starts when brainwaves are detected. Simply that.
You're, again, assigning life where there is none. Assigning life to things that are not human.
I mean, when do you think that life ends? At brain death? Could we define the end of life to be at brain death? When we stop detecting brainwaves on a person?
Why, to be honest, I don't actually have the exact specifics on the death of a person, but that doesn't really matter compared to what you are trying to do.
It does matter. It does matter on how we define life.
It doesn't matter really, because if we're looking at it in terms of who the actual autonomous human being is, the person who has the womb. Again, you would not allow it if someone else was, trying to say, oh, we define this as life, your body will subject to this. Like, imagine if someone refused you medicine because, oh, we don't want to kill anything. Like, it's nonsense. Therefore,
I got a question.
What's your question?
Have you ever heard of the saying, "My rights end when your rights begin"?
I've heard of the saying.
In other words, I have a right as much to swing my fist around as long as it doesn't make contact with your face.
I understand that, but I don't see how that applies here, because there's only one life.
In the case of abortion,
I believe that
the mom's right to her own body ends where the rights of the fetus's right to life begins.
Which is once it's been born, so there's no problem here. Shall we move on now, please? This is awful.
I don't think that, okay, I'm also going to say that I don't think that's something as arbitrary as physical position determines the right to life for an individual. And that is what you're determining to be what determines right to life, is their physical position. Once they are inside,
why do you care about where you personally assign, life?
Why do I care about abortion?
Yeah, you can't get pregnant. You don't have any.
Why do I care about abortion? Because I care about the right to life being consistently held for people. You
don't care about their lives once they've been born, though, at all. You don't care about them at all once they've been born.
Get killed. More specifically, there's a difference between.
What are your views on welfare programs again? What are your views on?
I believe that is a tolerable compromise. That's
tolerable compromise. Tolerable compromise. Say.
Yes,
delightful.
Exactly. But even then, that's not morally equivalent. The saying that a person is all like, I don't want people to be allowed to kill each other, that applying that to abortion or even the issue of when it comes to guns. But at the same time, I don't think people are obligated to help one another via welfare or whatever else. They are not morally equivalent to one another.
How Christian of you, Darkon. Anyway, should we move on?
Okay, the thing. I believe
Shall we move
in
on,
donating.
Darkon?
I believe in donating to other people.
Shall we move
There's
on,
where
Darkon?
Christianity comes in.
Let's talk about that for a second. Actually, no, let's not. We'll talk about it in a bit. Let's talk about your racism.
We should save that for another stream, honestly, because religion was not like one of the issues that I was necessarily wanting to bring up on its own, and that was not one of the issues I was having beef with you. I mean, as far as I know, you care little to none about my own religion. So
well,
therefore,
I find it very interesting that you're. I
I
find it very interesting that you can sit here and have all these views and then claim you're a Christian when you are like just not.
Red herring.
No, it's not a red herring. You are as far from someone like Jesus as I could possibly imagine. Like when I think, well, it's true, isn't it? When I think of someone saying, "Oh, love all humans, love each other," and then I look at you, who's like this horrible, hateful, like I mean, just.
Oh yeah,
we'll come on to it in a bit.
I hate women. I totally hate women. I think they should all be
Let's talk
forced
about.
to go back into the kitchen. Everybody.
Let's talk about your racism, Darkon. Let's talk about the video you made. Sorry?
Oh yes, my alleged racism.
You're a legend, yeah, right. Let's talk about the N-word. What is the N-word, Darkon?
It depends on how you pronounce it. It could be either nigger or nigga or whatever.
And
if you're talking about that N-word, but there's also other N-words like nothing and Neanderthal.
Yeah, your comedy routine, Darkon, your comedy routine is very bad.
There's other N-words.
Would you call me the N-word, Darkon?
I don't know. I have not been pushed.
You don't know. You don't know. It's fairly obvious the answer.
It doesn't really matter in my view.
Why not?
I mean, I would not call some.
So you would call me the N-word.
What?
So you would call me the N-word because it doesn't matter.
I mean, it doesn't matter or not. I mean, it depends on
really. You would call me it then. You would call me it then because it doesn't matter, right?
I don't know. Maybe if I was like really heated and you were in the middle of like murdering somebody I cared about or
whatever. so you would.
I mean, maybe if I was like really heated, I mean, it would not be intended as any offense to any other black person or whatever. I'd just be in the heat of the moment. Somebody is like doing whatever heinous act to somebody that I care about. So I don't know. Maybe it would slip out. I don't know.
So you would say it then? So it's a yes.
I mean, in a very rare circumstance, I don't know.
It's a yes then, because it's not a no. It wouldn't. It's not. So it's not a no then, is it? If you're saying, it would come out.
I will not say a definite yes. It would be more like a maybe.
It's a maybe. So a maybe is still a yes, because if you said it.
Whatever. Continue on with your point. Continue on.
So you would use the word then if you got really angry.
I mean, I've also used it in rather positive contexts. Oh, so you think there's no positive contexts? I mean, I'm asking you, is there at all a positive context to somebody saying
that's not why I'm laughing
or whatever?
That's not why I'm laughing. So sorry, let's go back to why you said if I was murdering someone you really cared about, you'd call me that.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that rhetorical situation has not happened.
So of all the words in your lexicon, that's one that springs to mind.
That's one that springs to mind. I don't know. Probably psychopath would be a first one.
But that one as well. You said a second ago.
Somebody just in general murdering my family, murdering a family member or someone else that I care about. Probably something like a piece of shit, dirtbag, psychopath, psychotic, a whole bunch of
those words
probably would come up before the alleged word that we're talking about. That being
you would still use it though, right? So let's say for whatever reason this is going on for quite a while, you'd still use this word.
I mean, I've used it mostly. I mean, I've never maliciously called anyone that. Let me put it that way.
You wouldn't use the word.
I wouldn't.
So you wouldn't call me that word if this ridiculous scenario came about.
I mean, I don't think Okay, as it stands currently, I don't think a malicious enough of a situation has arisen for me to call you that.
Well, but let's say this scenario was happening. There's a situation where it's justified to call me a racial slur.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't outweigh
Well,
the fact that somebody murdered another person's family. I mean,
but let's say this scenario is happening, right?
The situation of somebody like murdering somebody just is far outweighed by whether or not they got called a nigger.
So you would use the word, of all the words in your lexicon, all the words you could possibly say, you would use that word to describe someone who happened to be black and was murdering someone.
I don't know. I haven't thought.
I don't know. Surely it's a no or a yes.
The rhetorical situation has not happened. I would not know.
No, but it's a rhetorical situation you came up with to explain why you would use the word. But now you're saying that you don't know if you'd use it or not.
I would say that I don't know, but maybe there's the slightest possibility.
So there's a slight possibility you'd use it. Okay, right. Interesting.
Does that really outweigh the situation of the person like murdering or raping or whatever the person I care about?
But of all the words you could think of,
have your priorities straight here, and what morally outweighs another act.
The point is that of all the words you could think of to describe this person, of the thousands of words that exist in the English language, the adjectives and nouns, you would use that word.
I thought I've already answered this like a dozen times already.
So you would use that word? Is that? Because I don't want to get the wrong answer. Would you use the word?
I have my answer recorded here on the stream.
Well, it was it was a while ago. I'd like you to say it again. Would you use the word in that situation?
I'm not going to repeat myself on that question.
I've forgotten. I'm quite tired. Can you tell it to me again, please?
God, no, you don't play coy with me. You have not.
Honestly,
about it. You have not forgotten about it. Don't play coy with me.
Honestly, Darkon, I've it slipped my mind. Could you tell me whether you'd use it again?
Bullshit. You have repeated multiple times. Oh, so you would call me that or whatever else. You've repeated multiple times.
State it now, for so we can be clear. So I don't want to, as you keep saying, I don't want to take you out of context or anything. So would you call me the word in that scenario? Yes or no?
Tick, 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 tick.
So you're just refusing to answer now?
I've already answered earlier.
The thing is, though, Darkon,
again.
You answered in such a round of,
I don't know what, 3 times or 4, whatever.
You answered in such a roundabout way that it makes it necessary to get an actual, clear answer. Yes or no? Would you use the word?
I mean, you assume my answer of maybe to be a yes.
Well, because that is, if you're saying I might say it, that's still a yes.
No, I'm not saying that it is a definite. Oh my gosh, you're getting so hung up on this, Owen. Like, is there any other reason that you're accusing me of racism? Shall we move on to other aspects and other reasoning for why you call me racist?
Well, I've barely even started. But the fact you can't even just say no to a very simple question is pretty much revealing why I might call you a racist. Anyway.
So a person slips a racial word once and then they're forever branded a racist.
That's not what I said. But it's a pretty good indication when someone like 4 or 5.
What you just said there.
It's a pretty good indication whether someone is racist or not if they're but not even able to say no.
Exactly. That's what. Okay, so it's a pretty good reasoning as to why they are racist. Therefore, you would brand them a racist. Simple as that.
What are you on about? Literally, if you're unable to answer the question, would you call this person a the N word? Well, not really, because you've been like, oh, maybe, and then refuse to give a clear answer. So maybe, so that's a yes then, because it's not a definite no, it's a yes, because you would maybe.
I don't care. Is there any?
Well, figure 1 as to why I consider you to be, holding of many racist views and also quite racist. Anyway,
holding of many racist views. Okay, so what are the racist views in extension to how I'm a racist?
I'm about to go on to then, Darkon. In that scenario, you said it was a very extreme, in that a very extreme situation. You know, this extreme situation where you portrayed a black person murdering someone. What about if they're just talking about politics, and one of the members gets very upset and angry and decides to call them repeatedly an N-word? What would that be? Would that be justifiable? And
I mean, if it was a random stranger, or like if it was a random stranger or a person more specifically that I would care about, I would definitely go on my way to say, "Oh, excuse me," to say that was uncalled for.
uncalled for. Why is it uncalled for?
Why is it uncalled for? Because it's rude.
Why is it rude?
Why is it? Do I really need to extend it any further than that?
Yes.
Rude.
I'd like to know, please. Why is it rude?
Why is it rude?
Yes.
Because it's insulting your.
Why is it insulting?
Random person.
Why is it insulting?
Why is it insulting?
Yes. Tell me why the word is insulting.
I mean, generally, and it also depends on the context, and if the situation that we are applying here, according to the situation,
I asked you, Darkon, why is it insulting? Why is the word insulting?
That we are applying here, it would be in a negative context that somebody would call somebody else.
Yes. So why is it insulting? You know, words don't just magically.
Why is it insulting?
Why specifically is the word insulting? What's so insulting about it?
It depends on how the person again called that, how he takes that word being called.
No, I asked you why the word is insulting. You said you would say, "Oh, don't do that," if it was no. Why is the word insulting?
I mean, it depends. Like, it could mean either, for some people, for racist, it could mean black trash, or it could or whatever else.
For some people, it could mean negative.
I also want to bring up another situation here. Mr. Medicare, when he was like talking to Ross.
You've not Darkon. We're not talking about specific situations yet. We're talking about this example that we've just come up with.
We are talking about a specific example.
Well, no, because I said.
I want to bring up another example.
You can bring that up in a second, Darkon. But we were talking about why the word is insulting, and as you just said, it's a way of conveying negativity about black people, and about
Well, for some people, it could.
For I don't think there's a.
I mean, say for a neo-Nazi, it would mean. It would most likely mean that.
For pretty much anyone you call it, Darkon. And there's.
I mean, okay, so this is why I go on to my next example. This is why I go on to my next example. Mr. Medicare debated against Ross, a pedophile, who is also not black, by the way, and is in fact white. Multiple times, Mr. Medicare called him a nigger. He called a white guy.
Why did he call him? Why did he call him that?
Why did he call him that? I don't know. I guess to insinuate that he is trash, that Ross is trash.
There you go. So he used the words to convey negativity based on the fact
that it wasn't racially based because Ross wasn't black.
Why does that matter? The word was still used to convey negativity.
Whether or not Mr. Medicare is racist.
The word was used to convey negativity. Now, I don't actually know anything about the two people you're mentioning.
So in that context, Mr. Medicare was not being racist.
Regardless, he still used a very racist word.
Oh my gosh.
I don't particularly care about a conversation between random people. In that scenario and the last one.
It was not two random people. It's a very specific example.
Darkon. At the end of the day, the word was used because it is a negative word aimed at black people, and thus the negativity in the word is specifically aimed at denoting negativity in black people. Draws back to this last example, Darkon, if you'd not stop interrupting. To draw us back to that example of one person deciding to use it against another as a strange for whatever reason he gets angry and he sees that and he decides, I'm going to call him this. He's calling it that because he's being racist. He is using a racist word and he knows that it is racist and he wants to use it to attack and denigrate the other person. Now, let's say that this person that they're attacking is black and the person that is being attacked is white. And they are already very irate and angry and have already been shouting. And they've clearly not exercised their entire vocabulary, and they decide, oh, let's call this person the N-word, and then call them 5 or 6 times afterwards, and again and again and again. Would that be racist?
I'm sorry, I was looking at the chat for a second there. You want to repeat? You want to surmise very quickly the rhetorical situation?
Well, it's pretty bad to not be listening to what someone's speaking to you in a one-on-one conversation, Darkcon. But sure, as I'm very generous. So one person's black, the other person's the white. See, even though you've just asked me to repeat myself, you're now speaking over me. That's quite rude, isn't it? So Darkcon. One person's white, the other person's black. They're having a conversation about politics. The white person's getting angry and irate, and subsequently decides to call the black person the N-word because for whatever reason they feel as though the conversation requires that. And then we call them a second time and a third time and fourth, fifth, sixth time. And it goes into the next day, and they're he's just completely you reusing that word over and over again. Is that white person being racist?
Perhaps. I mean, if it was just some random standard by, I probably would assume most likely that they are.
Perhaps. How is there perhaps? That implies there's a no.
I mean, are they? The question was, are they racist? I would probably presume yes.
Why are you presuming yes?
Because I don't know the people.
But why do you need to know them when you've been given the example? It's a hypothetical.
I mean, I don't know their beliefs. One thing.
Why do their beliefs matter? Look at their actions. Look at what they've done.
Their beliefs do matter on whether or not the person he himself is a racist.
But you've clearly seen their actions, and you've clearly seen what they're doing. They're clearly doing stuff that you described as racist just a second ago. You clearly.
You said that it was an argument, and a white guy was repeatedly calling the black guy nigger. Right?
Yeah.
I would probably presume that to be them to be racist in that circumstance.
And subsequently making them a racist.
At first glance, yes.
And at first glance, what other glance do you need?
I mean, if I was to get to know them better,
but then would still have that.
Would I find out that they just have a harsh language, but actually their beliefs are not discriminatory?
A harsh language.
Yeah, a harsh language.
A harsh language would be like if they called the black person a twit or a doofus or something, or to always using insults. I think there's a bit of a step up to get
language, isn't it?
There's a bit of a step up. Darkcom, there's a bit of a step up from harsh words to outright racism and racial slurs, isn't there? I mean, you've not exactly been very forthcoming about me, but you've never used the N-word to describe me because.
That's why.
Yeah,
because I don't care about you. That's why.
Yeah, but you wouldn't start using the N-word against me because it's quite a racist word. And subsequently, as you were trying to weasel out of it earlier. But... Sorry?
I said that I do not know in
don't know. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. There's no circumstance where you'd use it. No, there's not though, because there's not. You can tell.
Wait, you're assuming that I would not utter the word now?
You wouldn't call me or any black person the N-word if you are angry because it's racist, and you.
I thought you said I was racist, so therefore there's.
You are, but there's it's a different reason. It's not the same way that the person I was in this example I was describing was racist. Racism is more complicated than just are you in the Klan or not? Anyway, let's continue with this example. As you clearly have described this person. That is, are you listening, Darkcon? Because last time you were checking your screen, you weren't.
So trying to get quick updates on the chat, but anyway.
So to continue with our example, you agree that the person that repeatedly used the N-word and aimed it at a black person over and over and over again was racist.
Is this going to connect to whether or not I myself am racist?
I'm guessing
that was the original.
I mean, to be honest, Darkcom, you're not doing a very good job of demonstrating that you're not racist. I mean, let's just looking at this back. I mean, anyway, let's answer the question, please. You agree that person was racist, right?
Most likely, yes.
It's not really a most likely. It's a yes or no. Were they racist?
Oh my gosh.
You don't have to. Oh my gosh. Just say yes or no.
If you're really going to be this freaking pedantic about it and holding on to it, then yes.
I mean, I wouldn't call that pedantry, but sure. Okay, so let's say a third person comes
My
along.
official answer is most likely yes.
A third person comes along and says, "No, that person wasn't racist." To the white person, and then says, "Oh, that black person was overreacting and being unfair."
Okay, the third person. I mean, if he's some random stranger, well, if he's some random stranger and doesn't know the other two people at all, well, then he would probably, I would presume, be in the wrong.
The third person can
of the way that he's analyzing that situation. But what if he knew the white person a little bit more than anyone else?
the third person can see the entire chat log, look at the entire conversation with just the repeated use of the N word over and over again. I don't really see why it would matter whether they know the other person or not. They clearly have the evidence they need to see that the actions clearly are racist, as we both stated, and thus they, for some reason, are saying the other person isn't racist, the white person isn't racist. So, what's your verdict on this third person? Why would they say that?
Why would they say that the white person is not racist?
Yes.
Because they know their beliefs better, and they know that the white person like actually believes not in segregation, believes that segregation should not be a thing, believes that there should not be any racially discriminatory laws, etc. That would be, I think, the reasoning as to why the third person thinks that the white person ultimately is not a racist or bigot.
So hold on a second. They have to. So if they don't believe in segregation, they're not racist.
Ultimately, no, not really. I mean,
so what did racism just
on a,
like
on a
disappear?
on a personal one-to-one level, when they're the way they interact with people, perhaps, but their beliefs. I mean, let's assume in the rhetorical situation that they do not believe in segregation and X, Y, Z. Ultimately, their beliefs and they themselves, no.
So hold on a second. You're saying that to be racist,
like somebody like Richard Spencer or J.F. Garapi, then I would say yes, they are racist.
So okay, so this white person that is saying that the white racist who was racist to me, or the black person, shall we say? We'll come on to who it was in a bit. They aren't racist because they don't believe in segregation, even though they've defended a racist and they've defended the racist actions.
Yes, I believe that beliefs outweigh words.
But they have just demonstrated that they are okay with repeated racist action, using the racist word, using it repeatedly, aiming it at the black person, and then defending it by condemning the black person for speaking out, talking about it.
I will say that if a person is just randomly calling black people niggers, then it is.
But it wasn't random, though. And even if it was,
racism.
But firstly, it wasn't random, and secondly, it matter, as we've already established, the word is racist.
Okay. In the circumstance of the one-on-one interaction, well, then I will say that in one. Okay. Oh god, I don't know how I want to like gather my words in this. I mean, you want me to say yes?
I want you to say whatever you think, Darkon. Was the person who defended extensively the white racist as well?
No. Okay.
Why not? Even though they're defending racist actions.
The person who actually gone using racial slurs to the person who defended the person using racial slurs. No, I would say that the third person there is not racist.
Why aren't they racist, even though they're defending racist actions?
I mean, were they defending the actual use of the word, or were they just defending the person who used the racial slur?
I mean, if they're saying someone's not being racist by defending things that are racist, then they're clearly defending the racial slurs, aren't they?
I mean, if they're defending the person in the stance of believing in a white ethno-state, well,
why
then
are we bringing ethnostates into it? I've asked you a very specific set of scenarios there. So quite a simple question, really.
I mean, this just boils down to language codes and breaking language codes.
Does it?
Yes.
Why?
I mean, you're getting a hold up on racial slurs above everything else. Well, I won't say necessarily above everything else, because we haven't gone on to like the other issues that could make somebody a racist or not yet. Anyways.
I'm still waiting for the answer. Why is that person not a racist, despite the fact they've defended clearly racist actions?
Why are they not a racist?
People, you know,
I mean, it depends on what their beliefs are. Why?
They've expressed their beliefs, unless you think for some reason it's some sort of double act, and they're like,
you're asking me, why are they not racist?
Yeah, you said, oh, they're not racist.
The third person, why are they not racist? Assuming that they do not believe in any racially discriminatory policies, that's why.
They've expressed their support for racism via the conversation that's taken place right in front of them.
I gave you my answer as to why I think the third person is not racist. Because their beliefs...
So they're defending the blatant racism in front of them, right? The racism you said yourself was racist, quite clearly. Why would they defend that?
Why would they defend that?
Yeah, why would they defend that?
Defend the use of racial slurs in of itself?
No, why would they defend the racism?
Defend the racism.
If they weren't racist, why would they defend the racism?
Defend the actual use of the word of racial slurs.
Yeah, defend the white person and their actions by saying you weren't racist, the black person is in the wrong here.
I mean, if the one person was using the racial slurs in a rather malicious way, well, then I would say that the third person defending him, there could be implications that that third person is racist.
Implications?
Yeah.
As in, it would be actions you've got in front of you.
I mean...
The actions
ultimately, I don't know the person. Ultimately, I don't know the person. You
don't need to know the person. I've given you an example. I've given you the example. I've given you the example.
Fully give a judgment on... Okay, I don't know about you, but I cannot fully give a full judgment on somebody until I know them in depth.
I can give enough of a judgment to see that when someone is being racist. Like, if you've got the conversation in front of you, as I've described, of, oh, you know, what black person, white person having a conversation, white person descends into racial slurs and racist screaming. Another white person comes along and says, this white person did nothing wrong, the black person is in the wrong, white person is not racist. You've got enough there to see that both white people are racist. Not exactly the same racism. You know, one wasn't using racial slurs, but their defense of the person that was is quite clearly being racist. Like, you have to, it's like, for instance, you know, you don't have to be a Klansman to be participant in, you know, racist actions. The you know, the racist that goes and burns a cross on someone's lawn is racist, but the person who goes and defends that racist in other scenarios and other situations is also being racist. Racism is more complex than that. Therefore, would you describe the third person, the white person, as racist? Yes or no?
You know, I'm just going to give the benefit of the doubt and say yes, but I want to bring up another scenario. Say, for example, like S-Man was calling JJ a red...
Hold on a second. Sorry to interrupt you, Darkon.
And I was to defend S-Man using...
Darkon.
It's because in a friendly...
Sorry to cut you off, Darkon. You were not using names yet. for the purpose of this conversation, I have no clue who S-Man and who was the other one you mentioned? JJ.
I thought we've already addressed that situation, and I said
We'll come to it in a second, Doctor. But for now, we're in a big thought experiment at the moment. We're not using names.
Well,
anyway,
I answered on that thought experiment, and I said I give the benefit of the doubt and say yes.
Okay. Benefit of the doubt, and you'd say yes. So you would say yes. Brilliant.
I mean, you're wanting me to like make a whole lot of assumptions here on stuff that I may or may not know. But here's another situation that I would know about.
But we're not onto that yet. I haven't finished. I don't care about S-Man and JJ right now. We're talking about this situation here, the hypothetical situation, because I've not done with this third person yet. So this white person who we've now established is racist, has done racist things by defending their racist compatriots. This white person then makes like a video and separate posts and separate points on other platforms and other bits of social media defending their racist white friends. And they say, oh, well, this black person,
Are you trying to apply that situation to me, Ham, and you?
Sorry, I've not mentioned any names, Darkon. Darkon.
Make an equivalency between me, you, and Ham.
Darkon, a thought experiment does not need names. Please just listen to what I'm saying. Don't think about it, your personal friends. Let's think about the actual situation.
Calling him a friend is a bit of a stretch, but
this white person. No, don't think about names. Think about what I'm saying. The white person who we have established is a racist has now made videos and has made tweets on stuff on other platforms. And essentially double down on what they said previously, that the black person was in the wrong, the white person wasn't racist, and there's no racism in just saying racial slurs. Is that person being racist? Bearing in mind they are doing the same thing they did in the initial conversation, but now just on different forms.
You're describing that they're continuing on their defense, right?
Yes, yeah, essentially.
I mean,
is they racist? Yeah.
In this random scenario that I do not know any of the people. Yeah.
In this thought experiment. Okay. Yes, the person is still being racist. Are we agreed?
Sure. Can we get on to the more specific example?
Yes. Brilliant. This person then makes a live stream where they invite said racist and a few other people on, and they call the stream a mock of the Darkon. I haven't finished. They call the stream or they mock the black person in the title of the stream, and they're just talking about this black person in general. And then they invite said initial racist to make a load of racist jokes in big air quotes, about the black person. And at one point, hold on a second, Darkon. And the jokes are literally just calling a black person a monkey. Well, is that still an example of the racism? At this point now, we're not even defending him. They're just actively joining in at this point and laughing along. Is that person still... No. Is the person still being racist?
Not because of the jokes.
Oh, but the jokes are based on... Okay. I wouldn't have sex with this black person because it would be bestiality. Could you explain the punchline there, please?
I mean, the punchline is that in the past, people considered black people as monkeys.
And what would you describe that as? What would you describe that as, Darkon?
I mean, those people in the past that considered black people monkeys, that is racism.
Therefore, what's the adjective you use to describe
that? Does not think that the black person is literally a monkey.
What's the adjective that describes that, though? What's the adjective? The noun is racist, but what's the adjective?
What's the adjective?
Yes, that is a phrase to say. What's the What would you use?
Perhaps by definition, racist. I mean, discriminating.
Racist. Therefore, saying that phrase.
If you want me to say that Ham is like a racist...
Why are you mentioning Ham? We haven't finished with the hypothetical yet.
What the heck? Can we get on with the point?
Person,
you just espoused
that humor and those jokes are therefore racist. Yes?
They're race-based jokes.
Race-based jokes. So,
I
all
mean,
right then. Is that going to hold up?
sure, yeah. But by definition, you're like discriminating based on color in order to make a joke. But the punchline is, never mind. But the punchline is
racist,
stereotypes that people may or may not disagree on that other people have made up.
So the joke and the humor and the people involved were being racist, right? We agree, as we've gone through this. The whole basis of the joke is based in racism, right?
Based on racism.
Yes, calling a black person a monkey and telling them that sex with them would be like bestiality. That's racism, right?
By definition, sure. Doesn't mean that they're bigoted necessarily.
I mean, why would they tell the joke?
Why would they tell the joke? Just for a laugh?
Why would it?
Because they believe that black people are inferior necessarily.
Why would it make a laugh? What's funny?
Why would it make a laugh?
What was the humor in the situation?
Well, subjective.
Right. No, I'm not asking you what, but I know that humor's subjective. Like, I find The Room to be one of the best films of all time, but other people can't sit through it. That's subjective. What's the humor in the situation, please?
Past made racial stereotypes. That's the.
So what's funny about that?
What's funny? It just is. I don't know.
Nothing just is. Nothing just is. There's actual reasons why things are funny. Could you explain why, please?
I don't know. I don't know what you want me to tell here. It just is.
I want you to tell the truth. Why did you find it funny?
I mean, whether or not the person actually believes that black people are inferior is subjective as to whether or not they actually believe that or not.
But you just said it's funny, right? It could be funny. The people might find it funny. I'm asking why they might find it funny. I know that it's subjective, because I don't find it funny, and hopefully you don't find it funny. But I
mean, I was laughing a lot on that stream.
As thinly veiled as it is by now, we'll reveal who these people were in a minute. But could you tell why it's funny, please? Because there must be some reason, right?
Not because the party believed that black people are inferior.
I didn't ask you what the reason wasn't. I asked you what it was.
Just is funny. I mean,
no, nothing just is funny. Like nothing
it tickles people's funny bone, like for an expression of words.
What?
I mean, it tickles people to bring out a metaphor. It tickles their funny bone. I mean,
yeah, but why? Things don't just happen, right? There's still a reason. Even if they're hard to get to, a reason still exists as to why.
Are you gonna move on? Are you gonna move on?
No, I want you to explain why it might be funny. You just be as honest as you like.
Just is.
That's not a reason. Like, that's circular logic. Y is X because X. You can't say that. That's a fallacy. Actually address the point. Tell me why it's funny.
I mean, you get so hung up on jokes now.
No, I'm asking you to.
I mean, are you so freaking triggered over the joke to go on this like 30 minutes, if not longer?
You can say that if you like, but I'd like an actual answer. You can believe whatever you'd like, but I'd like an answer as to why you think why the joke is funny. Sorry. I know you know the answer. I know you know what to say. You just don't want to say it because it would sort of reveal something, wouldn't it? Right?
It's a joke based off of racial stereotypes that other people have made in the past. Like I said before.
So why is that funny?
Why is that funny?
Yeah.
Just is.
No, that's not. We've already established that just is. Isn't that what like a kid says when they don't have an excuse for why they did something? Come on.
You're wanting me to say that the people are in of themselves racist.
I'm wanting you to explain why a joke is funny. That's it.
Why a
Maybe,
joke is
maybe
funny?
yeah, why is that particular joke funny?
Because of a punchline.
Why was the punchline funny? Yeah, and I understand what a punchline is, Darkon. I want to know why it's funny. For instance, the joke, why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side, is funny because it plays on your expectations. It's a logical answer for a question that you're expecting something silly to come out of. So the play on expectations can provoke laughter because,
a joke doesn't always have to be logical necessarily.
Well, actually, no, jokes do have a lot of logic in them. That's sort of why they appeal to us. You haven't given a reason as to why. You haven't given a reason as to why the comparing black people to monkeys and saying that having sex would be bestiality is funny.
It's funny because it pokes at stereotypes that people have.
Why is that funny? Well, what's funny about a racist stereotype? I can grumble too, Darkon. I'd like an actual answer, please.
I'm not able to satisfy you, Owen.
No, you haven't given an answer, so of course you haven't satisfied me. I want an actual answer, please.
You want an actual answer?
Yes. Why is the joke funny?
You want me to say that the people themselves are racist or something?
No, I want you to tell me why the joke is funny. I don't care about people for this instant. Just tell me why the joke is funny.
I'm not like some sociologist that studies the hundreds of years
of sociologist.
Of comedy or whatever else.
You don't need to be a sociologist.
I look at a comedic sketch. I do not put so much thought into it to try and break it down to the little smallest molecule.
You have a mind to think with. Please tell me why a joke could be perceived as funny. Tell me. You don't need to go into some 1,000-word thesis. Just tell me why it's funny.
You want me to tell you why poking at racial stereotypes that other people have made is funny?
Yeah, what's the humor in that?
I don't know what you want me to tell you. Just because? Just is?
No, because they aren't reasons.
Because there's some other... You're never going to find it funny. That I think that's the end of this this part of the discussion. Is that we're just...
It's not the end of that part of the discussion.
We're just going to have to agree to disagree on what is perceived as
a joke. No, we're not. There's no agree to disagree. There's a reason as to why the joke might be perceived as funny. I know you know the reason, so you need to find it within yourself to either say that reason or come up with some other reason, which you won't be able to.
What do you
tell
think?
Me why?
What
tell
do you
me
think?
Why? But I don't want to put words in your mouth, Darkon. I want you to tell me.
You say that you know what I know what the reason is. What do you think that I know the reason is?
I don't want to put words in your mouth, Darkon. Please tell me yourself. Why might someone find the joke funny?
It's not because that they're racist.
Well, what is it because of then? Why might they find the joke a black person is an ape, a black person is a monkey, a black person to have sex with them would be bestiality? What's the joke?
I don't know, edginess. They have like an edge.
What's the edginess then? What's the edginess? Where's the edge?
The fact that inherently poking at racial stereotypes is edgy. I mean, professional comedians get edgy like that all the time.
But what's the joke? I don't want to know about other people said similar. That doesn't answer my question. Look at it another way. Why? Why is X? Why is X?
This is becoming pointless.
Becoming what?
This is becoming pointless right here.
Oh, I don't think so. I'm enjoying myself.
This has been lost about 15 minutes ago.
Well, because you've not given an answer to the question,
Other than breaking your language codes, how else do you think that I'm racist?
No, I don't. I'm not talking about your racism right at this second. I'm asking you why. What the where the humor is derived from the question. Sorry, from the joke. The joke is this black person is an ape. This black person is a monkey. Having sex with this black person would be bestiality. Where's the humor?
I'm waiting for us to move on.
No, we're not moving on, bro. You need to tell me where the humor is, because people don't just laugh at things like that for no reason.
The difference between me and you, Owen. I do not freak the fuck out about other people's jokes that they make at other people's expense.
Darkon, that's not why I asked you. You can.
This is the reason why you're going through all this mental exercise, is because you apparently took offense to those jokes.
Well, to satisfy the obvious, the person, the third person that I spoke about, was Darkon here. He was the person who stepped in to defend the white racist. He was the person who made videos defending said white racist, and then he was the person who made a stream who defended.
I did not defend Ham in of itself.
Well, I mean, you made a video. You literally say in the video, Ham was in the right. So, I mean,
I said he was more in the right on the whole circumstance in of itself. I did not say that the action itself of him calling you a nigger was right in of itself. All right.
I mean, well, let's be honest.
What I said then and there was, I don't care.
But you obviously did, because you made a video about it where you explicitly state that it's not racist.
You going on public Twitter, going from a private DM group to public Twitter to say that a person is racist, like he in of himself is racist.
I mean, where's all this in of itself coming from?
If you want to go off on a limb, Ham might have a racist sense of humor, but that's about it. But he himself as a person,
sorry.
Certain political beliefs, is not a racist.
So did you say a racist sense of humor?
I mean, it's race-based. Sure.
Race-based. So racist then, right? So going back to what we were saying earlier, because I remember you found it quite funny.
Not racist.
Sorry?
But Ham overall as a person is not racist. I mean, I'm
based on what? Because as far as I can tell, his actions.
Based on what? Because he disagrees with people like Richard Spencer and other people who believe in white supremacy.
So disagreeing with the Klan means that you're not racist?
Overall, yeah.
Well, no, because plenty of people disagreed with the Klan, but would also hold quite racist views about black people. Like, it's pretty silly to say that. And indeed, looking at that stream, if I'm presented with that, and let's say I've never met any of you before, I'm looking at some people telling a load of racist jokes and howling about it and belittling and mocking the black person who, essentially just faced a load of racism. In fact, at one point in the stream, you actually asked Ham to repeat one of his racist jokes because you can't, because you didn't hear it properly, so you wanted him to say it again, and then you all started laughing about it. I mean, and this went on for quite a while.
I like a good laugh.
So again, why did you find it funny? What was laughable about that situation? Or what made you laugh?
Because I have an edgy sense of humor. That's why.
Why are they edgy? What's the edge? So what's the edge? What's the edge? I mean, what's the edge? Where's the humor derived from?
The edginess is because other people might perceive them to be racist.
Where's the joke in that?
Okay, the thing about edginess, I mean, this is given into like Urban Dictionary territory. Edginess is the possibility of an action being perceived as unacceptable by a large group of people. Like, say, for example, posting Jesus porn on the internet. That might be perceived as unacceptable to Christians, but that's where the edginess comes in.
So
because it's widely frowned upon.
What's the humor?
And you risk like offending people.
What's the humor in the situation I described of where you called a black person a monkey and an ape?
I guess
so you said the edginess in wanting to offend people.
I guess it's because there's a possibility that it offended you.
Okay, why might it upset or offend or aggravate someone?
Because you're thin-skinned.
But why? No, I'm not asking thin-skinned. I'm asking why.
You asking why?
Yeah, why might it offend someone or make someone think a certain way about you?
I mean, the thin skin might be rooted because you have some perceived beliefs as to what is acceptable or not when it comes to like poking at somebody's self-proclaimed identity.
That's
Their
not
actual
what I
identity.
asked. Why would I be, or anyone in anyone really, be intrigued by the actions undertaken?
Why would anybody be intrigued at poking
Yeah,
fun?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Why would someone why
Because
would someone think that way?
because it risks offending you.
But why?
But why?
Yeah, why might it offend someone?
Why might it offend them?
Yes.
Because they're sensitive about their own identity.
No, you've already said they're sensitive. I'm asking you why they might be sensitive to that, or might not
Because
be offended by it.
their identity and their sensitivity over it.
Why? I know you think that, right? Like, you got to actually explain things. Things have reasons, right?
I don't go overthinking into
It's
humor.
not overthinking. It's just not saying the same thing over and over. Circular logic. It's a thing. You'd be well advised to read about it once you like leave the
I
stream.
think it's really circular
So
logic. People
it
just
is
have
though.
opinions.
Why is this?
Funny or
Dark on. What you're saying at the moment is, why is this offensive? Because it's offensive. That's not good enough. Tell me why. Why is it offensive? Why were the jokes that were made in that stream offensive?
Well, you want me to say it's because you're half black or whatever?
No,
I mean,
I asked you why it's offensive.
I mean,
Why are the jokes he
just
made
that
offensive, and why might someone take issue with them and everything else?
because they are the butt of the joke, perhaps.
Well, no, because
They are the
jokes.
ones the joke is being made at their expense.
And what's the expense? What's the target here? What's the reasoning behind making a specific joke? Like, for instance, I wouldn't have sex with Owen because it would be bestiality.
Because of your identity.
Which part of my identity? Because there's lots of different facets to it.
I guess your skin color.
And why is that important
Why is that important?
in this
I mean,
instance?
whether or not it's important is subjective to a person.
No, that's not why I asked. I asked why is that relevant to this particular joke?
I mean, I do not know why it's important that.
But you do, though, don't you? Because you didn't say it to any of you. You didn't make this joke to Geek, who was also one of the people that was being derided in this stream.
I called him a fat version of Steve Shives, and so as other people.
But there's a bit of difference there, isn't there? Because you haven't at no point was Geek compared to an animal or
I mean,
compared to bestiality. We'll see.
Animal, but if I was to rewatch that stream, I think I could find somebody was making a joke at Geek's expense.
Oh, I'm sure there were, but the only person who was compared to an animal and called racial slurs was me. Why was that? And why was there humor in from that?
Because why was there jokes being made explicitly at your expense? Because Ham was pissed about you.
You're deliberately swerving away from the question I'm asking you. Why were the nature of the jokes the way they were?
You were asking earlier why the joke was made earlier, and I was answering why Ham made the joke.
So why the question that is being asked is quite specific, actually. The humor in calling me an ape and a monkey, and I think there's porch monkey was a term he used at one point, as well as the N word, of course, and bestiality and all those things over the course of the whole stream. Why might someone make that joke, and where do they derive humor from that?
I think we should get on to the bigger.
No, we shouldn't get on. I'm waiting for an answer, Darkgon.
Owen, I'm so sorry that those jokes offended you.
I'm sure you are, but I'm asking you.
Officially, Ham has broke you to go on this long about it.
Darkon, no, you're not fooling anyone. Please just answer the questions. I'm being very calm and patient. Where's the humor in the situation? Why might someone tell and laugh at said jokes?
I'm just gonna say I don't know.
You do know, bro. So are you that like lacking in awareness that you don't understand how and why jokes are made?
You want? I think I know where that you're trying to bait me into. You're trying to bait me into saying that everybody on that stream was racist.
Well, I mean, the evidence is fairly obvious, really, isn't it? And the fact that some of the people who are on
comedy out there, a comedian out there is racist.
Darkon, don't oversell yourself. We're not talking about every single comedy here.
Well,
some people,
comedian, my bad.
Darkon, some people that were on that stream have actually, since the stream happened, denounced they've said, "Oh no, I was wrong," and they've sort of moved beyond this. You, on the other hand,
I don't care about their opinion. Well, in this, okay, I will not say outright that I don't care about their opinions, but that's not like a determining factor of my opinion of the circumstance. Not really.
But all I'm asking you to do is explain why you laughed at the jokes and why you were happy to have the jokes there and why the whole situation happened. I'm just asking for reasons. Reasons are the basis of our our thoughts and mind.
Because there was a possibility that it offended you, and apparently it has.
I'm asking why might I have been offended? Why might someone be offended? Because like you can say all you like, oh, you were offended, but there's the reason behind it. Obviously, it's like if I just went around saying, oh,
because you're black mixed and because you're thin skinned.
Oh, but why is the fact that I'm black important in this scenario? I
mean, you want me to answer? Okay. Actually,
yes.
You want me to answer for you. You want me to answer for you as to why you would have been offended. Well, tell me, Owen, why would you have been offended?
You're doing a very bad job of skimming away from this, Darkon. I've asked you why might I, or any black person really, have taken issue with the caliber of the jokes being told.
That's that you got to answer for yourself.
Like, I'm asking,
why did you take offense to it?
There's a reason jokes were made.
Why did you take
offense? There's a reason the jokes were made, Darkon. Darkon,
you took offense to it.
Darkon, I
can only assume why that you took offense to it.
Darkon, you're acting very immaturely right now. Could you just answer the question, please?
Oh, sure, yes. The guy that was obsessed on this for about an hour.
Darkon, why might someone have told such a joke? Where's the humor in it? I mean, jokes just like I could just start waving a pen around and saying, "Oh, pen," but there'd be no reason for it because there's no point to that joke. There's no punchline. It doesn't make any sense. There was a reason those jokes were told, and there's a reason I'd like you to talk about it, please.
Waving dicks around like dildos.
Thing is, though, there's an actual purpose to that, and there's a reason people do that. And it may not be very funny, but people do that to provoke a reaction.
Okay, I'm equivalating waving a pen around to waving a dildo around.
Darkon, that's not what I said. And again, you're not doing a very good job of this comedy routine is very bad. Please just answer the question. Where's the humor in laughing at and telling said jokes?
I told you because there was a possibility that you might get offended.
Okay, yes. And
you asked why is it
we've been over this. We've been over this. Why might I be offended?
I don't know. Why would anyone get offended?
No, I'm asking you because you obviously it was planned for a reason.
I mean, you're saying that you cannot read my mind. Well,
Darkon,
back at you. I can't read your mind, Owen.
Darkon, you're acting very babyishly. Please just answer the question.
I don't know why that you're obsessing on this.
Because you've not given an answer yet.
You're going to talk about maturity. Well, I'm going to tell you to grow up on this circumstance because you're obsessing over it. Like
I'm asking you why you found it funny, why you laughed along, why you actively
encouraged him. I already answered that question, and then we're moving on to the next. I already answered that question, so then I answered it. Then we moved on to the next question, which is why did you take offense to it? Why would you take offense to it?
The question
you gotta answer. I mean, you say that Again,
I think Darkon. I think everyone knows why.
I can't read your mind.
Darkon. I think everyone knows why someone might take offense to it. The only person who seems to be in denial is you, and I'm asking you why the joke was told in the first place. I'm asking you why, the offense might be.
It's just running around in circles.
We're waiting because we're waiting. It's not really going in a circle. It's just asking you to be honest. Why?
I thought I've answered all these questions at least once.
Because we're going around. I've asked you, why was it funny? Because it was offensive. Why was it offensive? Because it was funny. It's circular. It's going nowhere because you are not capable of answering the question honestly.
No. I did not say it was. Why was it offensive? I didn't. When you asked why was it offensive, I did not say because it was funny. I did not say that. Don't putting words in my mouth now. I never said that.
Why was the joke told? Where's the offense coming from? Why would someone make the joke in the first place, Darkon? Specifically at me, because there are lots of jokes one could.
Why was it in the first place? Primarily because Ham was pissed off, and I guess he wanted to lighten up the mood a bit with some edgy
by being racist.
By being racist. I mean.
Okay. This black person is a monkey. This black person, to have sex with him would be like bestiality, and then calls this black person the N-word over and over. Are those actions racist?
Are we going to get onto the? Are those actions racist?
Yes. Are they racist?
By definition. Perhaps.
Yes, they are. No, there's no perhaps, is there?
I've already said that Ham has a racially charged, or if you want to be more specific, racist sense of humor. But I'm saying that.
But a racist sense of humor.
But then you want to move on to why the joke was funny.
Well,
I cannot break down to you as to why.
You can tell me why you laughed at something. It's something that should be very basic for someone. You're older than me. You're like what, in your 20s? Like, you should be able to explain why you think and do certain things, Darkon.
I do not go thinking about every single joke that is ever told.
Well, try it now. Think about it. Why? Growling or whatever. I don't know what noise that was.
That's
come on.
Me groaning.
I don't know what sound that was. Please just. This would be a lot quicker if you just were able to give the reason. Because there is a reason, and I know you don't want to say it, but it's a reason nonetheless.
I mean, you tell me why you think everybody laughed. Because everybody is racist? Is that why?
I mean, the survey says, it's not exactly a big leap, is it, when the joke's been made of that caliber? We've already discussed why and where the humour derives from. We know that it's racist. We know why someone would even say these things to begin with.
Well, okay.
And given Darkon the long process we've just gone through to get to this point, where we can clearly see the actions of this party, namely you, have been racist the whole way along this process, it is quite clear that the humour was used.
Racist in what way?
Well, the humour is quite clearly racist. Laughing at the humour was an act of racism, as well as all the other stuff that was discussed and laughed at.
Well, then,
therefore, the person that is doing all these things is racist.
Let me tell you,
to bring a long thing round to the start, Darkon. To bring a long thing, Darkon. To bring a long thing round to the start. The reason I call you racist, and the reason I think you hold and believe racist things, is for all the stuff you have just exhibited. And
what racist things do I believe in?
Well, we've just been through a whole conversation which pretty much exemplifies that.
Jokes. That's the basis that you're going off of.
Racist jokes that you very badly defended on your this little thing here.
Very badly defended. I mean,
well, Darkon, watch this back and tell me that you're not talking absolute rubbish for this past I don't know how long it's been, but come on,
I know what.
You know what you know. Anyway,
I know that we're all racist. No, I do not think that any of us that are in that stream are racist.
Well, you've already said that they are, Darkon, because of the stuff we said earlier.
I just said that the humor in of itself was racist. That's all I said. I did not say that the people themselves
The
are racist.
humor is racist. Therefore, the people who are using that humor over and over and are still defending it today are.
If you want to go off on a limb, then a person.
How is it going off? How is it going off on a limb?
Let me finish this point. If you want to go off on a limb, then I guess a person who uses who has racist, edgy sense of humor is a little bit more racist than a person who does not delve in such humor at all. So that means that therefore all these comedians that tell jokes about race, they're all slightly racist than say some grandma who has not uttered anything race-based in her entire life.
I mean, a comedian that is using racist jokes is still, participating in and around racism.
Right.
Obviously, comedies a little bit.
Jokes mean nothing to me. They mean nothing.
Comedy is,
if somebody was to
like
make a bunch of white jokes, I would not care.
Dark on stuff we're talking about now quite clearly is racist, and to try and lump in random comedians as like, oh, well, they said it too, like this.
Well,
stop trying. You're digging a bigger hole for yourself. The more mature thing to do would just be to accept that the actions on that stream were racist, the actions of the people were racist, and that the racism is needed to. People who were racist need to improve. Yeah, that'd be the mature, sensible thing to do.
I don't think people need to improve on their humor.
Well, I would, because I would say it's pretty questionable to.
That's subjective. That's just you, man. That's just your opinion.
In real life, would you go and say, hey, the other weekend, I went on a stream with someone where I called a black person a monkey and said it would be bestiality to have sex with them? Haha, funny. Ha.
I don't think they need to
say,
on that, really.
Would you no? Would you say that in real life to someone?
Would I say that in real life to somebody? Yeah. If I knew them well enough and if I was comfortable in the company.
Well, why would you need to know them well enough? Surely it's not. Surely I'm just being offended, and I'm thin-skinned, right? So it's not offensive, right? So you'll just say it to anyone.
Yeah, I would not say like racist slurs or anything like that to just some random stranger. I mean, it's basic. It's basic.
But no. You said but I was thin-skinned, which means that I'm too sensitive, right? So I'm below average in terms of that stuff. So in real life, let's say at your place of work, you happen to have a black co-worker who you chat to, and you say, oh, this weekend I got up to some really funny stuff. And they're like, oh, what did you get up to? And you say, oh, I was on a stream with someone and I called a black person a monkey and an ape. Haha. Would that conversation happen?
I mean, I have not described hardly any of my YouTube interactions. Well, I have.
Would it happen? That's what I'm saying. Would you have that conversation with someone?
If it came a conversation, perhaps.
No, they ask you what you did on the weekend, and you say that. That's.
Wait, what?
They ask you what you did on your weekend, and that that comes up.
I would say had a live stream, had some edgy jokes, or told some edgy jokes.
Okay, and the black guy goes, "Oh, what sort of edgy jokes?" And you say, "Oh, I laughed at a black person being called a monkey."
They were kind of poking fun at racial stereotypes. That would be how I would say
it. And they say, "Oh, what sort of racial stereotypes?" And you say, "Oh, I laughed at someone being called a monkey," and like, what's it called? Called him a porch monkey and stuff, and just being called the N-word over and over again. And that black person never speaks to you again.
I mean, the conversation would probably get deeper and deeper into more conversation, but maybe if they were asking for specifics, I would just answer.
They just ask you what jokes. They ask you what jokes, and you tell them, and then they never speak to you again. Because they're like, wow, why do I want to?
If they don't want to speak to me ever again based on that, well, then they're probably not that good a friend material.
Well, they're only a co-worker, and I thought you said I was being thin-skinned. Like, I thought, and you said it was
the thing. Not all black people are thin-skinned.
Just ones who don't like me called monkeys.
And I'm not calling you thin-skinned because you're black. All right. I'm just calling you thin-skinned because you're Owen McDonald.
Well, hold on a second. If I wasn't black, then the jokes wouldn't have been made in the first place, because then it wouldn't make any sense, because it wouldn't be racist, right? So it doesn't make sense for that to happen.
if say you were white and we were poking at white stereotypes and we were laughing, oh haha, Owen is going to get offended because we're making white jokes. That
doesn't make any sense though, because then none of the like powers, none of the things would make sense.
The only factor I'm changing is the race in play.
But then none of the jokes would make sense, and the whole point of why it was racist was because it was a load of white people making clear racist jokes at a black person that had like
none of the jokes would make sense, but Ham would be telling different jokes based off of white stereotypes.
That doesn't make any sense though, because those jokes
doesn't make any sense. It makes perfect sense.
No, because the whole point of the joke was to laugh at the other person. It wouldn't be, it wouldn't make sense if it was like, oh,
yes, it was to laugh at a different person.
Yes,
what if that person was what if that person
based on racism, Darkon? I know it's hard for you to see that because it personally involved you, but you have to take responsibility for your actions. You have to see that you're being racist.
Take responsibility. You want me to like own up to me doing XYZ? I mean, I'm not denying that I did not laugh at those jokes.
Yes, and it's important for you to understand that you laughed at them because you hold racist ideas and beliefs. Sorry?
What do you mean by own up to them? Are you meaning like apologize
for
it?
Instead of doing this like 10-minute Weasley, oh, it was just my humor, race-based humor. Like, I want you to actually sort of say, yes, I laughed at this joke because it was racist and I thought racism was funny.
Yeah, Weasley says the guy who doesn't want to get to the actual more substantive issues. Just wants to hang on to this very
Darkon, anyone who watches this back will see what I mean.
What?
Anyone who watches this back will see what I mean when I say Weasley.
I mean, most of your questions, at least, I have answered in the best way that I can.
No, I mean, let's be honest. We just know that's not true.
You keep on re-asking them again and again.
Maybe I re-ask questions because you're not very good at answering them, Darkon. Like,
I mean, I do not look too much into jokes. That's the main thing.
You're asked to think about what you'd said in the past, and you couldn't do it because it would mean admitting to something wrong on your behalf. And there's nothing wrong with like acknowledging that you did things wrong in the past. Change is important. It's growth.
Making race-based jokes is wrong. That's the difference.
Growth is important for any person. Everyone needs to be able to acknowledge that there's error on their behalf, especially when it comes to something like racism. Like, and I'm not too bothered if you can hold your grudge against me or whatever if you like, but it's important that maybe next time like your racist friend wants to have a stream, maybe you say, no, I'd rather not laugh at your racist jokes because I don't want to be racist anymore, and you could grow as a person.
Here's the thing. You want me to acknowledge the error in my ways of laughing at racist jokes. Well, let me tell you, that's subjective, Owen, on whether or not that's viewed as wrong or not.
Hold on a second, no, because we've already been through this, Darkon.
I say it's not wrong.
Darkon, we've already been through this because you've already explained why it's wrong through the whole thing we just went through and why using the words wrong.
I never said that telling those jokes was wrong.
Okay, is racism wrong?
Segregation.
That's something you think about, Darkon.
Statism, yes. I mean, policy based off of racism is wrong.
But racism in general, I don't care about policy. I don't want to make it so specific. Racism as a whole, is it wrong?
Generally speaking, yes.
What do you mean, generally speaking? In what circumstances is racism okay? Then if jokes, why?
Yeah.
Where's the humor?
Oh god. You
want to say something, then justify it. You want to say that racism is okay in jokes, justify the humor.
I cannot justify humor in your eyes.
Yes, you can. We've not given anything for me to speak about, so of course I can't. You can't justify it yet because you've not said anything. Yeah. So justify it now by explaining the joke. And if it is justified,
you did not ask S-Man to explain to you why me being nicknamed as DarkyCon was funny. You did not ask.
I don't care about your personal nicknames. I want to have answers to what we're talking about now.
I'm bringing up
Darkon, you just said it was justified. it's justified to use racist jokes, right? So let's imagine the scenario, real life. You're at a let me try
I'm not
think.
saying necessarily that it's justified. I'm saying that it's neutral. I'm saying that's neutral.
Neutral. So it's
I'm saying,
neutral.
well, okay, justified. If you want to like use that word, well then fine, whatever.
So you now agree with me? Humor that is racist jokes and stuff. They're not justified. They're racist. They're not right.
What? I did not say that in the least bit.
What did you say?
I said if you want to use the word justified to say of how I'm defining racist jokes, well then fine. Yeah, whatever.
So you're saying they are justified. Okay. They are justified.
Racist jokes?
Yeah.
Sure. If you want to use that word, yeah.
Okay. So why is the humor? Why is the humor justified? Why is the humor justified? What's the humor in it?
Because humor does not kill anyone or invade on anyone's rights.
Lots of things don't, but they're still not justified.
Okay.
But could you justify the humor though, please?
The reason why it's justified is because it is not in of itself immoral or violate anyone's rights or cause any harm like that at all. The only harm
cause any harm
is people getting offended or having their feelings hurt or whatever.
But why would they be offended or hurt by it? Why do they think it's wrong? No, don't just scowl. I don't know what sound that is. It sounds like you're coughing up like a hairball or something. But think about what I'm saying. Why?
And
there's a reason. There's a reason. That Rave said it's wrong. So let's go back to the reason. We've identified that the purpose of the joke is to denigrate and to demean the person that's the target of it. The black person, on the basis that they're inferior because they're black, which is ultimately what the joke is. Therefore, why is the joke okay? Why is the joke fine to make? And if it's justifiable, would you make it in public?
Any harm to anyone?
Sorry?
Because it doesn't cause any bodily harm upon anyone. It doesn't violate anyone's rights or anything like that.
No, I'm not talking about what it does to someone else. Why would someone make the joke? Why would someone make the racist joke?
To have a laugh, to have a good time.
Okay, so why are they laughing and why are they getting a good time from a racist joke? What's there to have a good time at?
Are you really gonna go back over this?
Yes, we are. What's to have a good time at?
I thought I had already addressed this earlier.
We're going over it again, I guess.
No.
What's there to have a good time? A good time from what, Darkon?
A good time from what? Poking fun at you. That's what.
But you on a second, because you said you just said racist jokes in general. You didn't specify me. And even if it was me, you could make a lot of jokes at my expense. Why the racist ones?
Why racist ones?
Yeah.
I don't know, because why not?
Well, no, that's not a reason. Why not? Go on, be specific, please. Another hairball.
Why racist? Why racist jokes?
Yes.
Does it really freaking matter?
Yes, it does. I'm asking you now. I mean, it's a pretty poor state of being to just be like say stuff and not have any clue as to why you said it, isn't it, Darkon? I'd be a bit worried if that was me.
I do not go on an apology tour or whatever about every single joke made.
I've not asked you to. I've asked you to justify and explain the humor. I've asked you to explain the humor. Yeah, you don't need to turn it into like, oh, I'm so attacked. Just explain.
I did not say that I'm being attacked with all this questioning. I'm just saying that it's inane and frustrating and
I'm sure it is. But I'm gonna persist anyway. Tell me why the joke is funny. In fact, actually, I'm gonna do a little gonna be creative. Hold on. Give me a second. When this decides to load. Is that sharing? Should be. Right, yes, okay. Okay.
Dork.
He's
I've yeah. Thanks for the nickname, Esper.
Darkon.
What?
Here's the joke. Here's the joke. Could you tell me why this is funny, please?
I mean, you've already asked me.
Yeah, I'm asking you again. We're gonna analyze it. Tell me why it's funny, please.
Because it's poking fun at stereotypes, and I cannot explain to you why poking fun at stereotypes.
Why is that funny? Now, please. Where's the humor?
I cannot satisfy you on this. I
No,
can't. We're not
no.
anywhere else on this. We're not going to get anywhere else on the street.
You're getting a 0 in your test at the moment, Dark, because you're not writing an answer.
I don't care. You're not my teacher.
Well, could you give me an answer, please? Why is it funny?
Just because
it's funny because it is. What's the next word? You're not going to say it? R A C I S T. There we go. I know you can say it if you want to, Dark.
Like I said earlier, I mean it's racially charged humor. It's
yes, it's racist. Yes, yes. Your euphemisms aren't very good. Yes, yes. Now, why would someone find something racist funny, especially when it's so blunt like this?
Oh god. By your logic, because they are racist.
I find it funny because I am racist. There we go.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, thank you for the passive aggression and
well, seeing as you weren't willing to, what other reason is there?
Now can we move on to the racist beliefs? What the racist beliefs
are? Darkon, could you? Okay, if that's not the reason, if this is wrong, Darkon, if this is wrong, if this is wrong, then tell me what else there is.
What?
Okay, if that last line is wrong, if you're saying you're being bad, tell me what the other reason is then. What other reason is there?
What other reason is it that it's funny?
Yeah, why is it funny?
I mean, I cannot explain to you as to why people find it funny. It's just
explain.
It just is.
Because I won't admit to being racist on this stream.
Oh god. No, I know that I am not racist.
And why do you find the joke funny?
I hold racist beliefs. I know that none of my compatriots hold racist beliefs.
If you're not racist, why did you laugh at the joke? Why did you continue to defend it as well?
You're so obsessed over this.
No, you can call me that if you want.
So fucking obsessed.
Well, you asked.
Nothing else to go off of, Owen. Nothing else to go off against me and the rest of my friends.
Well,
That's why
I mean,
to this. You're grasping at straws.
Darkon, I wouldn't be calling you racist if I didn't have a good reason. You asked why I call you racist, and it's all in front of you.
Not a good reason.
It's all in front. Okay, it's not a good reason. Why?
Based off of humor, that's not good reasoning.
Why is this not racist then? We've got the reasoning right in front of us, right?
Why is it not racist? I mean, I did not say that the jokes in of themselves were not racist. I'm just saying that the people themselves are not racist.
Now, hold on a second. Why? Well, if they're got these racist jokes, why are they? I mean, it's not even really a joke, is it? It's just openly saying racist stuff. Like this isn't. There's no punchline here, is there? Other than the racist stereotype.
So let me ask you this: you said that racism was on a spectrum in the one live stream you had with S-Man, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you: people like me, Ham, and the rest of us, do we lean more towards anti-racism than pro-racism?
Well, I mean, survey says you are on stream barely able to admit that calling black people monkeys and apes isn't racist. Sorry,
Survey
is racist.
based off of what? Based off of your own fan base? I don't care what the general consensus of your fan base is.
Well, we've clearly laid it out here, haven't we? I mean, yeah, you can clearly see racism.
We have not laid out as to how a person in of themselves are a racist.
I mean, come on, Darkon. Like, you know, it's right in front of you.
You want? Yeah, I know that it's in front of me, and my beliefs in of themselves are not
racist. Thank you. They're racist.
They're
not. Justify it. Why would you, have this whole stream and videos dedicated to defending a racist, defending racist actions?
I do not believe Ham to have racist beliefs. That's what I am trying to get through.
Even though it
was only one video.
Was it?
Regarding Ham. It was only one video.
I'm talking about you. Because in another video, in a video about Josso Man, in which I was brought up very briefly, and in fact, I didn't really even need to be in the video very much.
I said that was one video about Ham, and then that was one video about Josselman, where I very quickly mentioned the fact that he had said "shut up, nigger" at you. And I did say that was uncalled for him to do.
You didn't say it was racist, and you made the point of saying, "Oh, I don't care about Owen's hurt feelings," in a manner that clearly indicates that you don't want to. You didn't want to contradict yourself as to an earlier video you made where you said it wasn't racist. You know what you were doing. I'm not. You're not fooling anyone, Darkon. If you just acknowledged that you had done racist things and moved on, would be fine.
What racist things have I done?
It's all in front of us in this whole hour or so. This stream's been going on for, Darkon. The fact we've gone through each of the the jokes and stuff. We're only I've still got loads of stuff I wanted to speak about. But to be honest,
why is humor so important to you?
Humor reveals a lot about the way we function as humans, and it's quite clear that based on the stuff you find funny,
and a person's own beliefs and what they vote for outweigh the jokes, outweigh what jokes they tell.
What? Sorry?
Can't the beliefs that a person holds and what policies they vote for outweigh what jokes they have?
Your beliefs are exemplified through the way you behave. Your conduct is appalling.
What are my beliefs? What are my beliefs, Owen?
Well, that it's acceptable to behave in such an appalling manner towards black people and use racism. You think it's okay to
whatever. I never.
So there you go. You've already exemplified why. So I might call you racist, Darkon.
Owen, I never said that it's okay to just go up to a random black person and just call them a nigger.
Oh, so there's a context for where it's justified to call them that, is there?
There's a context where it's justified?
Yes, is there a context?
Is there a context? Maybe.
No, it's not a maybe. Is there a context? And if there is, then describe it to me.
If a person is saying, "What up, my nigga?" Well, then
that's different, isn't it? Because that's what black people used to reclaim.
Where it's justified. I gave you one instance of where it is justified.
But no, that's an A on the end, not an ER, and that's in a an amiable.
Even then, some people and just a
black. What? That's between two black people as an amiable way of reclaiming the slur.
I mean, even white people and black people do it back and forth at each other. I mean,
Darkon.
Let me ask you.
Darkon. You're interrupting, Darkon.
You're not saying much.
Reason it is reclaimed is because the word it comes from is so obviously offensive and racist that because it's still used so frequently, people need to try and weaponize the word. That's the whole reason behind it. So that doesn't excuse.
I'm not saying.
I find it very disingenuous that you would bring up all this stuff as a way of trying to divert your own, culpability in this issue. Also, we're going to have to make this 2 parts and do the second part another time because it's been going on for 2 hours and I'm getting very bored of talking to someone who is so very blindingly unable to talk about their racism.
I mean, I'm talking about
Your
issues of
racism.
race.
You're talking about your racism.
Yeah, so you think.
I mean, so anyone who watches this thinks. Here's a little
Not
experiment for
just
you.
anyone,
If
just your fans.
oh, just my fans. Okay, go up to a black
Most
person.
loyal, just the
Dark
most loyal of your fans.
loyal. You make it sound like I command an army now or something. Like, oh, my loyalists. Like, go up to a black person and have a conversation with them and tell them about how you had a stream where you called black people monkeys and apes and just had a laugh about it.
I did not call them that. What? I did not call them that. I mean, I thought
Okay,
it was
well, you didn't put.
talking about.
Okay, so you didn't personally call them, but you sat there laughing along with it. And I like how that's like a big win for you as well. Like, oh, I didn't personally do it. I just let my friends all do it, and then sort of sat there, giggling away. Like, do you think it's a bit cowardly to sort of be racist enough to sort of laugh along with it, but not, couragely, not have enough courage to actually say it yourself? Like, a bit cowardly, isn't it?
The cowardice seems to be you obsessing on jokes and not moving on to more substantive issues.
Well, I mean, not really. Could you explain
yes,
if there's nothing wrong with making the joke, and why didn't you make them?
Why didn't I make them?
Yeah,
I've made racist jokes before.
but on that stream though,
Not on that stream, but before. Does it really matter when?
Okay, well, if there's nothing wrong with it, why didn't you do it now? Why didn't you say it now?
Why am I not saying it?
There's nothing wrong with it, right?
I mean,
so make a joke. I'm asking you, would you make one now?
Would I make?
There's nothing wrong with it, right?
I think Owen is due for his fried chicken and watermelon. He wants to get on with that. He's hungry right now. I mean, I cannot just come up with a joke on a fly.
So what was the joke there? Because that was it was a pretty poor joke, really, wasn't it? It was very dead.
I did not say that it was good.
No, yeah, but it was a joke nonetheless. I mean, the more sensible thing to do would be say no and not make the joke. Yeah, you're only sort of digging yourself a big grave now, aren't you, Darkon?
No, and not make the joke. I've been saying this whole time that it's not a bad thing in of itself for people to be making
racist jokes
of race.
Racist jokes, Darkon. Save yourself the words.
Racist jokes, whatever.
But the whole point of a racist joke is to be racist. Do you not see that?
Racist.
Yes. Yes. The humor is derived from racism. That's the whole point. That's what racist, the adjective goes before jokes, the noun, because the adjective describes the noun. The adjective is racist. Racist jokes. Therefore, the jokes are racist. The joke is being described accurately as racist. Therefore, the person, in the same way that you might call someone who makes dark jokes dark, or someone who makes light-hearted jokes light-hearted, someone who makes a racist joke is racist. Especially when they're not even jokes, they're like literally just calling black people racial slurs and like comparing them to animals and stuff. Anyway, we've been going on for this long enough. I have better things to do than talk to someone who wears 2 pairs of glasses at the same time. I hope everyone has enjoyed this
I'll continue rocking them for as long as I run.
Does that even help your surely it's making your vision worse by putting shades over your glasses?
Whatever. I mean, I also have this outline blue light across my stream. I have this light up keyboard. It kind of helps.
I mean, sure.
I mean,
regardless,
if the lights completely off, well then, yeah. If I had this minimized.
Gosh. Sure. Anyway, we're finished now. Darkon, I hope you've learned something. I hope maybe you're not going to admit it.
I have learned nothing from your obsessive ass over jokes.
See it as that if you like, Darkon.
There's nothing to learn from that area.
You might be
and
saying...
I really wish we could have gone on to how my political beliefs are racist. But we kept on jokes.
We'll maybe do a part 2 to this. But no, certainly, I would say it's been a pleasure, but it's debatable.
The feeling's mutual. I take no pleasure in talking to you either. That's why I would say that we're enemies.
But it didn't have to be like this, Darkon. If you had just, you know,
Yeah,
if you grew a
you
little
could
bit,
lighten up a little.
lighten up a little, yeah. Just accept those racist jokes, Owen. Just accept racism. Anyway,
Oh,
I hope everyone had a nice time watching.
I did not say accept racism. You're putting words in my mouth.
Sure. I hope everyone has a lovely evening, and I hope you will enjoy. What am I saying? Enjoy. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evenings. There you go. Darkon, do you want to say goodbye?
Again, I did not say accept white ethnostatism or any alt-right belief or anything like that. And as far as the whole issue of bodily autonomy, if you want to continue on with that straw man, well then, fuck you, Owen. What you say, your representation of my beliefs is flat out false. And if you want to like insist and double down on those straw men to be true, well then, that's when that your straw men become flat out lies. Despite me trying to explain how my beliefs are not what you represent them to be.
Darkon, it's actions, not what you. Anyone can just say anything, but it's what we do that actually, you know, matters.
I mean,
anyway,
you don't know my voting record.
Sorry,
you don't know my voting record. You don't know my activism.
Why do you think it's limited to your voting record? Anyway,
well, I said activism as well. You don't know my voting record or my activism or anything like that. You've never asked me about those things either.
Darkon, I don't need to ask you about who you voted for to understand why you are racist. This whole past hour exemplifies that.
Off of words. You say that I cannot base my anti-racism off of just words. Well, guess what? You cannot base my racism just off of words either.
Like the whole fact that you think that it's enough to just like, not agree with like the Klan, it exemplifies why you have, you know, racist ideas circulating through you.
Not
anyway, it's time to end this. There'll be a part 2 another time. As Geek says, be well, take care, and stay awesome, my friends. Good night.